If you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I've been following some things that aren't of interest to core gamers, specifically the Atari VCS and the Intellivision Amico. I pre-ordered them both, and I received my Atari VCS Collector's Edition in December of 2020, and the Intellivision Amico has been delayed 3 times, and as of the recording of this video, there is no release date set for the console, Founders Edition or otherwise. On October 10th, the official Intellivision YouTube channel showcased the physical games available for collectors. The contents include a box modeled after the original Intellivision games, a lenticular collectible card, a collectible coin, and an RFID card that you can use to redeem your game, and it's also a non-fungible token, or NFT. So that's pretty cool. When the Amico comes out, I'll have some physical media to use with it, and they'll ship around the same time, but they mention at the end of the video that they're shipping now, and that's before the system even has a release date. And they sell them in bundles of 4, or you can buy them in 8 and save 20 bucks. So I wasn't really going to buy them initially because what's the point in buying games before you even get a system to play it with? But I bought them anyway because of some really interesting claims being made about these games, and I really wanted to answer them in the privacy of my own home. Also, they actually look pretty cool. So let's take a look and see what's inside the box. The boxes are smaller compared to, say, a PlayStation 5 game. They're about 4 inches by 6 inches, and they open up like a book, revealing the contents inside, much like the original Intellivision games came in. The artwork is also in a similar style to those games as well, with the exception of Finnegan Fox and Brain Duel, which I know not all Intellivision games originally had the same art style choice, but it just breaks the illusion considering that the artwork is essentially from a different time period. It kind of throws me off. But it does come with a minted coin, and that has the game name on one side and the Intellivision Running Man on the other. The coin has some heft to it. It's not incredibly heavy, but it's not wafer thin either. The size is about that of a 50-cent piece and larger than traditional arcade tokens. There is this lenticular card with fun facts on the reverse side, which is pretty neat. It's a 3D artwork of the cover art, so it's really nothing special. And it also has an RFID card that you tap on the Amico to redeem your game. The RFID cards are styled after the original Intellivision cartridges, which were pretty bland, only varying in different color depending on the genre of the game. Most of the Amico games are the same color despite being different genres. Brain Duel is brown, and Evel Knievel has a stylized text similar to licensed Intellivision games back in the day, like Kool-Aid Man here. Overall, the quality of the packaging is actually pretty nice. These definitely don't look like someone printed them from a Canon inkjet printer and passed them off as the real thing. The one thing that I will point out is that the spine text for biplanes is not bolded like the rest of the games, which really makes it stick out considering that there's only 8 games available. Tommy said that 7 people looked at this stuff and they missed it, so that's kind of a red flag. I mean, didn't these things come in proofs before ordering almost 10,000 of each copy? The other thing that is kind of lame is that these are offered only in packs of 4. You can't buy the games individually, but you could buy all 8 for a discount, which is what I did, bringing the price per game to about 18 and some change before taxes and then shipping. It was $12 for shipping for the full set of 8, which is expensive, but it is what it is. Everything's expensive these days. I find the price fair for the games, but now I have 8 games that I can't play instead of just 1 or 2. So what's on these RFID cards? I mean, I don't really have an Amico, so I don't really know for sure, but I do have an Android phone, and when you tap the card to the back of the phone, it prompts me to visit a website, intellivision.com/RFID/ the game name, and then what I assume is a key unique to my RFID card, and that's it. There's no game, there's no special data, just a link to download a game. And the site doesn't currently work, so there's nothing to download at this point, but I do assume that when the game actually comes out, the game will be downloaded automatically to the Amico. And there is a 20-digit key on the back of these cards, which I'm not sure what to do with. I do assume that since it's all numbers, a numpad will show up on the Amico controller and I'll have to enter it in to validate my download. At least I hope so, because you can scan these through the box even if it's sealed. So if you were to see these in stores, you could buy one, redeem the game, and then return it after you're done. The RFID cards enable you to bring your game over to your friend's house and play over there. There's no real word on how many times I'll be able to do that, or if I can play on my Amico while my friend plays the same game on their Amico. My guess is that it'll de-authenticate whichever system is not in use. So there doesn't appear to be any way for the Amico to tell who owns the game. But there is. These games are also an NFT. NFTs are non-fungible tokens, and I'm not going to explain too much about how they work. I mean, I already made a video about that, but what they do is they basically assign ownership to digital goods, and that ownership is recorded on a blockchain, and that ownership can be transferred to other people, much like a physical video game can be sold or traded and work on another console. And the current system is you buy a digital game and it stays on your system, and if you grow tired of that game, or if it's not exactly what you wanted and it's outside of the return window, well, tough cookies. You have to delete it and free up the space and remember the time that you had with the game. It's pretty lucrative for video game companies because they can sell as many copies as they want direct to the buyer without having to deal with any type of used market or having friends lend each other games. So making something digital with an NFT feature would theoretically allow you to resell a digital game. So if you get tired of Moon Patrol, for example, you can just put it up on the marketplace and recoup some of that money you spent on the game. And you probably couldn't get more money than what the official shop is selling it for, though, but there are people who spent $10,000 for these games, so anything is possible. But the thing about NFTs is that they don't actually contain the medium that you're purchasing. It's just a record that says Super Nintendo owns this specific copy of Moon Patrol. I still have to download a copy of Moon Patrol from some other place. So if down the line the Intellivision servers shut down, then there's no way to download the game and your NFT means nothing. Tommy wasn't really specific on how their NFTs will work, and there are so many different ways that it can work, but the only mention of NFTs are in the promotional email that you got and the YouTube video. If you go to the official site to buy these things, there's no mention that these are NFTs, and also in the boxes, there's no instructions on how to redeem the NFTs and assign it to you on the blockchain. So are these NFTs or is it just a buzzword? I really want to know how this works, so I would like to see a video on the official channel. Almost every NFT that's out there currently requires a digital wallet that people need to sign up for, and it gets a lot more complicated than what he's making it out to be. Are only physical games that I buy going to be NFTs, or will the games on the marketplace also be NFTs? I mean, with the RFID card in the box, it kind of makes the NFTs unnecessary. I can already sell this box and the contents and transfer ownership of the game that way. Again, I'm just speculating here, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. Which leads me to my main concern about these things. Why are we getting promissory notes in the form of a physical trinket now when there's no set release date for any of these games that I purchased or the system that I've had pre-ordered since January of 2020? I've heard some people argue that, of course, like some games come out before the console release, but you already know that the PlayStation 5 was going to come out, so if of course, like some stores would receive stock a little bit earlier, something like that, and those games are playable the day the system comes out. There's data on the disc, the game is ready to play, so you just pop the disc into the console and then you have to download day one patches, all that other BS. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We're not able to buy Halo Infinite right now because it's not ready yet. The game hasn't gone gold. And while Cyberpunk 2077 proves that it's possible to get a game that isn't finished yet, I mean, it's even 1 year later and we still don't have a working version, it still has some semblance of a game. It's not a link to a website that says check back later. And that's why I don't consider these games. They're collectibles that can be redeemed for a game when it eventually comes out. It's strictly for collectors, which is fine for me because I'm a collector. I really like collecting things, but it's really confusing given the Amico's target demographic. This console is for modern families who want to play simple casual games on the couch. Ideally, people who have never really given consoles much thought until now. It just feels like the Amico has an identity crisis, which is exacerbated by having retro YouTubers swoon over this system and devout followers of the system shout down critics in the video game press by telling them that this system isn't for you anyway. Of course, there can be some overlap. My wife and I are dual income, no kids, but these boxes are pretty much fan service for those who have been following the project since the beginning, the people on Atari age. They're retro inspired, they have a collectible coin. All of this is fluff for collectors, and families who want to play casual games probably don't want to deal with this. It's an extra step between you and the game, 2 extra steps if you have to enter in the code on the back. I don't really have anything else to say about these Amico games. I mean, talking about the Amico nowadays is pretty exhausting, which is why I haven't made videos about the Amico since January and haven't posted anything about it on my channel since they announced the delay 2 months ago. The console is still in development. Videos about the console can be outdated almost as soon as I post them, and negative comments are also a detractor. I try to stay fairly neutral on this channel, but there are still plenty of people who will harass and gaslight me when I share my critical comments about the Amico progress on other channels, and that really turns me off from even caring about the Amico in general. Not that people who hate this console are really any better. I haven't been harassed by them, but there are some people who genuinely hate this console and Tommy so much that they'll pick apart anything that the console tries to come out with, and a lot of times in bad faith. I'm not trying to bolt sides here, but I'm not over the top super excited for this console, and I don't downright hate it. I do have some concerns about the system, and it's pretty frustrating to watch people who have invested significant amount of money into the system continue to cheerlead the console at every step of the way, almost like they're afraid that if they criticize the system, the whole thing will fall apart. For a family-friendly console, the community around the Amico is pretty toxic. There really isn't any room for nuanced discussion about the console. You're either super positive or you're super negative. There's no in-between, and I don't really think that at this point you can really salvage the Amico community's reputation at this point. I can't imagine somebody who the Amico is targeting stumbling across some of these videos and thinking that the system is actually for them. But like I said, the system isn't out yet, and when it is out and I have it in my hands, I'll give it a fair go. So let me know what you think about the Amico in the comments down below, and be civil. I hope that we're all adults here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. If you're new here, subscribe for future content. I mainly talk about video game price trends. And also follow me on Twitter at Nintendo for the latest channel updates. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Super Nintendo, and I'll see you next time.